to compare and contrast metaphors and similes accurately by changing a metaphor into a simile, and you will be able to, if time allows, we're going to get to narrative poetry. You'll be able to define that because that's your next part of your edgenuity. Okay, as always, please stop me if you have any questions. Here are your standards. Hey, Will, it's good to see you. Okay, so this is a review. Okay, we're going to contrast a simile and metaphor. We're going to identify them first and then contrast them and change them. Here, okay, that's the first thing we're going to do. Good morning. We have some assignments there, and then we're going to review personification and hyperbole, and then we're going to look at a poem and analyze that and identify the figurative language. Then you're going to go into your Google Sheets and Edgenuity, come back at 10, or talk about narrative poetry. So those are the parts of today's lesson. Okay, so part 2, review. As you know, on last week's sheet, you were to analyze song lyrics in order to identify the type of figurative language and explain why it's that figurative language. As I reviewed those answers, ladies and gentlemen, I did see that many of you were close to the correct answers. This means that you understood that there's a comparison here, but some of you put a simile instead of a metaphor, and some of you put metaphor instead of a simile, and also it was clear some of you needed additional examples of hyperbole. So we're going to review today's simile, metaphor, and hyperbole, and everything is cool with that. Okay, we're here to learn. So for those just joining us, pull up both today's sheet and February 1st sheet. Okay, we're on part 2. So let's get started. Simile. All right, so I started with one today. The game was as boring as watching paint dry. So what am I comparing the Super Bowl to? I said the Super Bowl was as boring as watching paint dry. What is the comparison here? I'm comparing it to what? Very good. I mean, how, that's pretty boring, right? So, under part 2, review, we're going to review another simile, but the first thing I want you to do on your sheet, today's sheet, dated 2/4/19, under review, exercise 1, under notes, right here, next to notes, this is what you're going to type in. Okay, and I want you to underline uses like or as, which you highlight and you just go up here and you underline that. If you need me to do that again, let me know. When you're done typing this in, put done in the chat box. Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Jemiah. Okay, once again, folks, I'm looking at your sheets. Some of you have not completed this. You are to type in this sentence Simile is a comparison that uses like or as. Okay, I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds, and you need to underline uses like or as. Okay, so we'll move on. First example. Here are some lyrics from the song Congratulations by Post Malone. And how do you pronounce this guy's name? I want to say Quavo. Is that correct? Anybody know? Quavo, thank you. Okay, big ring, champagne, my life is like a football game. And here's a football right here, okay? So I bolded, my life is like a football game. All right. So this is a simile. My life is like a football game. What is the comparison there? What's being compared to what? Somebody. My life is like a football game. Or right. It's comparing it to a ball game. Okay? All right. So, underneath the picture of the football, ladies and gentlemen, there's a word called notes. You're going to type this in. Okay, let me just make this really big. When you're done typing this in, put done in the chat box. I expect to see this in all your sheets. Underneath the picture of the football, you're going to type this in. When you're done, put done in the chat box. Wilbert, are you able to type on your sheet here? Okay, all right. Thank you, Samaj. Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Jemiah. Okay, we're going to move on. So we have that my life is like a ball game. You understand it's a simile because it's using like. So what we did underneath your notes, assignment, change this simile to a metaphor. So here I did this for you, sort of an I do here. So if I say my life is like a ball game, then to change it to a metaphor, we take out like or as and put my life is a ball game. Okay? Do you have any questions about that? Yes or no in the chat box. Noelle says no. Samaj says no. I need to hear from everyone. Does anyone have any questions about what I did here? How I changed a simile to a metaphor? Thank you. Will says no. Jemiah says no. Okay, thank you very much. All right, we're moving on with song lyrics. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind? So here's a picture of a plastic bag drifting through the wind. Okay, so this is a simile. Why is do you ever feel like a plastic bag? And then I just added drifting through the wind because that's part of the lyrics. Why is this a simile? Somebody tell me why this line is a simile. Very good, Noelle. Okay. So, all right. So then under the picture of the plastic bag, okay, you're going to write this. This is a simile because it's using like to describe this person. Okay, when you're done typing that in, put done in the chat box. Okay, for those done taking notes, please read what I wrote in the chat box. Okay, so who can tell us? All right, you should be done taking these notes. We're down here. Assignment, change the simile to a metaphor. The simile is the sun is like a furnace, okay? Like tells you it's a simile. It's comparing the sun to a furnace. How could we change that to a metaphor? Very good. Very good, Noelle. Very good. Was that you, Will? Was that Will or? Okay, very good. So type in the sun is a furnace. Okay? Whoops. Okay, let me make this really big so you can see it. Here, let me pull this up. Type this in. When you're done, put done in the chat box. Thank you, Ariana. Thank you, Will. Don't worry about it. Okay, does anyone need more time to finish this? Yes or no? Okay. Zayana, are you done? I didn't see done in the chat box here for you. You done typing that in? Okay, moving on. Moving on. We're on next to this is metaphor. Okay. So I put the notes in here for you. A metaphor is a comparison that does not use like or as. First example, she's so cruel she has a heart of stone. Okay, we're up here, guys, in your sheet, today's sheet. She's so cruel she has a heart of stone. Okay, so this is what you're going to write next to notes. This is a metaphor. It is comparing this woman to a heart of stone without this woman's behavior stone without using like or as. Okay, so type these notes in. When you're done, put done in the chat box. Thank you, Noelle. Thank you, Samaj. I need to hear from everyone. If you're done typing this in, put done in the chat box. Okay, thank you, Samaj, Zayana, Wilbert, Jemiah. Thank you. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, moving on. So this is a metaphor. It's not using like or as. Okay, so our assignment down here is change the metaphor to a simile. She's so cruel she has a heart of stone. So let's see how we can do this. She's so cruel, semicolon. What do you think, kids? What are they describing her heart as? They're describing it like, like, right. So, Noelle, Ariana, or Samaj, or Zayana, Jemiah, how do you think we can write this as a simile? She's so cruel, her heart. We're going to use like or as. So what do you think? Is this Will? Okay, I appreciate it, but I'm trying to get other people involved, and I really do appreciate it. Very good, Jemiah. Very good, Noelle. Awesome. You guys have this. Okay, is like a stone. Beautiful. Okay, so I want you to type this in. When you're done, put done in the chat box. Okay, for those who are done, look what I wrote in the chat box. Please do that. Very good, Will. Very good, Jemiah. Okay, gonna give you a few more seconds. Samaj is done, Jemiah's done, Noelle's done, Will's done. Okay, so Okay, so let's see what we did here. So I'm a busy bee. Okay, so we're comparing someone to a bee. Very busy. Okay, so this is a metaphor. So how can we change this to a simile? Who can help me? Samaj, Jemiah, Noel? Very good. I'm as busy as a bee because a simile uses as or like. Can use like or as, okay? So if you haven't done that, I'm helping you out here. I'm as busy as a bee. Okay, so type that in if you haven't done it. Okay, remember to capitalize I whenever referring to yourself, guys. Whenever you refer to yourself, always use a capital I because that's academic and professional writing. Okay? Very good. Okay. What questions do you have about anything we just went over at all? If you have none, put none in the chat box. I need to hear from everybody. Okay. Okay. Zayana, Will, do you have any questions? Yes or no? Zayana? No. Okay, great. Okay, moving on. We're going down to exercise 2 of today's sheet. The reason, again, why I told you to pull up Friday's sheet was that if you need help with any of this, you can refer to Friday's sheet. Okay, so we are on today's sheet, the 5th live lesson sheet, exercise 2, personification and hyperbole. Okay, so directions. Read the song lyric, fill in the blanks. It's a guided practice. We're doing this together. First one, Nicki Minaj. You've got my heartbeat running away. What is the heartbeat doing? Ladies and gentlemen, what is the heartbeat doing? Okay. All right. Do you think, and you can use your Friday sheet, do you think it's personification or hyperbole, and why? And I can help you if you're not sure. So Samaj, Zayana, Noel says personification. Okay, you are correct, Noel. Why is it personification? Anybody, she can answer, or anybody else. Why is it personification? You are correct. It's a non-human thing doing what? It's a... Right, because hearts don't... Very good. Jemiah, Noel, awesome. All right, so it's giving the heartbeat a person-like quality. Ladies and gentlemen, personification. Look at the word, okay? Person is the first word in this word. So I hope that helps you for those who might have been struggling a bit, which is totally normal. Okay, so very clear. A lot of you were, maybe not a lot, but you had it. Like you understood a little bit of the personification, but you were making things like the opposite. Instead of a thing getting person traits, you were thinking maybe hyperbole was personification. So very good, Samaj. Excellent. Well done. Beautiful. So in this first one, you just type in personification. Whoops. And then I want you to fill this out yourself. Okay, so you can fill it out with what somebody wrote in the chat box, or you can put it in your own words. So is everyone clear, I hope, what you're doing? Yes or no? If you don't understand, let me know. So type in personification and then your reason why. right here. When you're done, put done in the chat box. Thank you, Jemiah. Thank you, Samaj. Thank you, Noel. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Just waiting on 2 other people. You need to type this in. You can, again, you can put your own words here or something somebody wrote in the chat box. Okay. Look at what I wrote in the chat box for those who are done. Thank you, Ariana. Okay, Zayana, can you hear me? Are you done with this? Okay, for those who are done, move on to the second one. Okay, read it. Thank you. Excellent, Noel. So it's hyperbole. All right, so Bruno Mars, I love this song. I would catch a grenade for you. I would jump in front of a train for you. It's hyperbole because it's exaggerating, right? And you're not supposed to take it literally, hence figurative language. What would happen if somebody, do you know what a grenade is? Does anyone here know what a grenade is? Okay, what would happen if you caught a grenade? I'm sorry? Right, thank you. Yeah, so if they pull up a pin, like a grenade is something used in war, okay, and it's a, okay, all right, so, yeah, so you don't literally catch a grenade for somebody, and what would happen, somebody other than Will, but thank you, Will, what would happen if you jumped in front of a moving train? Somebody tell me, what would happen for that? You would die, very good. So, it's very good. So, what does this tell you? If he's singing to somebody he loves, this should tell you what? That he really... Like, what is he trying to say? Does anyone know? With this hyperbole. Very good, Samaj. Well done. Good job. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. He's like head over heels in love with this woman. Look, I would do anything for you. Okay? All right. So I want you to fill in this sheet. Fill in these blanks. Fill in these 2 blanks. When you're done, put done in the chat box. Okay, if you're done typing that in, please read what I wrote in the chat box. Okay, so Jemiah, Noel, and Wilbert, and Samaj, since you're done, I want you to not work on part 3. I need you to read part 4 and come back at 10 a.m. So follow the instructions in part 4 and you're coming back at 10. Is that clear? Okay. Okay, go ahead.